great, isn't it? Yay. How's everybody doing? Good, awesome. It's good to have some sun out today, isn't it? Good to be above like 3. Didn't have to put our Alaska parkas on today. I do want to acknowledge Beck is back there doing the PowerPoint today. I just appreciate so much that he's so willing to come in and do that for us. All right, how old are you, Beck? 11. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Okay, I can't believe it, but we are actually in our 6th week of this series on the 12 powers. It amazes me how quickly the time flies by. We have our 12 power cape here. We've talked about understanding, will, wisdom, faith, and love. And today is one of my favorite topics. We're talking about the power of imagination. Now, imagination is our power to visualize, to envision, to conceptualize, and to think outside of the box. The disciple that represents imagination is Nathanael, also known as Bartholomew. And Jesus said in John to Nathan, "You shall see greater things than these. Truly, truly, I say to you, you will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man." The placement in the body is the third eye, right behind the third eye, and the color is light blue. Now, one of our great philosophers of all time and great Imagineers, Dr. Seuss, said, "Think left, think right, think low, think high. Oh, the thinks you can think up if you only try." Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, said that in thinking, man accumulates a mass of ideas about substance and life, and with his imagination, he makes them into form. There is incredible power with our imagination. He goes on to say, the imagination has its center of action directly between the eyes. This is the point of expression for a set of tissues that extend back into the brain and connect with an imaging or picture-making function near the root of the optic nerve. Through this faculty, you can project an image of things that are without or ideas that are within. Now, some of us might not think that we have a very good imagination. So I'm going to share with you that we are using our imaginations all the time. We use our imaginations probably first thing we wake up in the morning and we're already imagining our day. We may, wonder what the weather is like outside. We use our imaginations. In fact, I was talking to someone about this just yesterday. We use our imagination to make stories up about what somebody else is thinking. Anybody ever do that? About how something might go. We use our imagination for, like, if we want to pick a color of paint, what that might look like. We use our imagination for positive things, and we use our imagination for negative things too. One of the negative things that we use our imagination for is something I call pre-painting. It's actually called worrying. But pre-painting is bringing something to the present moment and feeling the pain that hasn't even happened yet. Anybody ever do that? Yeah. How's that working for us? And so I want to and we even post pain. Gosh, what if this would have happened? Think about that sometimes. Isn't that funny? Like, we come through something and then we post pain and go, oh my God, but it could have been so much worse. What if this had happened? And we bring that pain to the present moment. Think about a lemon. I'm going to go there. Slice the lemon on your tongue, and you can feel it. We have a powerful, powerful imagination. What we want to do is we want to take control of our imagination and purpose it for greater good in our personal lives, and in the lives of our country, and in the life of our entire world. So I'm going to share with you some quotes from Albert Einstein. He says, "Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited to all we know and understand, while imagination is the preview of coming attractions." I don't know how to say his name. Imagination is the one weapon in the war against reality. Marcel Proust said the real voyage of discovery consists in not of seeking new landscapes, but of having new eyes. And we talked about this, these inner eyes that are willing to see a broader picture. George Bernard Shaw said, imagination is the beginning of creation. First, you imagine what you desire, then you will what you imagine, and finally, you create what you will. It begins with imagination. And then Plato, over 2,000 years ago, said to be careful of the images we put into our mind. He said that we are not to put images of terror, violence, or fright into our minds, and especially not into our children's minds. And yet, what do we have right now? We have games that have all of these things that are about killing, and we have, all the stuff that's going into our kids' minds. Rather, we are to put in pleasant images of beauty, joy, peace, and harmony. And that's what Scripture says. Whatsoever things are good and lovely and pure and good, think on these things. Again, imagination is our ability to give shape and form to unformed mental energy. We are imagination machines. And do you know why we are? Because we are created in the image and after the likeness of God. God is the ultimate creator. Our spiritual DNA is that we are creators as well. I like to think of it as co-creating because I think that there's such a bigger something that exists for us that, and really what it comes down to is how many times have you imagined something for yourself and then something happens and you're like, wow, I never even could have imagined it to happen this way. So this co-creation is when we're saying, okay, I'm going to use my mind to create this image, I'm going to focus on it, but then I'm going to give it over to something greater because it's always going to be much more amazing than we imagine. Now, faith and imagination, I'm going to say wisdom, are closely aligned. And we talked a couple weeks ago about faith. Everything that was made out of that which is not visible. A scripture in Hebrews 11, now faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. The ancients were commended for this. By faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. And so this whole idea here is to recognize that we have this ability with this amazing power of imagination to create and to feel these images, these things that we desire in our life, and to know that even when we cannot see that things are happening, that they are happening. And I'm going to see if I get it right this time. We've heard the saying, I'll believe it when I see it. Okay, but what this is about is when I see it, then I'll believe it. I think that's how it goes. But here's what I'm going to say, so I'm going to explain it anyway. that it's not about, that we're going to be here waiting and saying, I'll believe it when I see it, but that we're creating it. We're seeing it in our own mind's eye. And I want to take this a little further because it's not just a matter of seeing it, it's a matter of really bringing all of our senses into whatever it is that we're imagining for ourselves and for the country and for the world. Wayne Dyer said, there's one grand lie, that we are limited. The only limits we have are the limits that we believe. And that is so true, isn't it? And I want to share with you another quote. Emerson said, oh man, there is no planet, sun, or star that could hold you if you knew but what you are. And we just forget. And we go about our day and we just don't take the time to really feel into and we don't take the time to create in our own consciousness what it is that we desire to experience. We just allow the days to happen. We allow the weeks to go by. We allow the years to go by. And so today is really about encouraging all of us to spend more time in this place that we call the imagination. Imagination is the key to everything. Who would have imagined that someone would create phones that didn't tether us to the wall? And that we didn't have to go, Most of us remember those, right? Someone imagined that. Who would have imagined computers being small enough to carry with you when we had those big, ginormous computers? Someone imagined that. I'm so grateful for this one. Who would have imagined luggage with wheels? Someone did, and thank God. Oh my goodness, and then they got the kind that turn whichever way. It's so great. Who would have imagined paying your bills without a stamp or having to go to the place? Someone did. Who would have imagined being able to stream pretty much anything that you ever want to see, not only on your TV, but on your smartphone, on any of your electronics? Someone imagined that. So let's talk for a minute about tools that we use for imagination. We've talked about some of these, but I want to go over them again. I'm going to tell you that my life is where it's at today because I vision. I have been dedicated to my visioning, to my treasure mapping, to my vision boarding. I can tell you that my relationship is a direct result. And when I go back and I look at my vision for my relationship, this man is everything and more than I even asked for. I visioned for our home. I visioned for my job. I visioned for everything. Now, you can do a treasure map where you put pictures on it, and I've done those. I'm more of a word person, as you can imagine. and so my visions are words, but it's about the experience that I want to have. And that's the thing, because some people will say, well, I want a vision for a job, but I don't know what I want to do. You don't have to know what you want to do. All you have to know is what experience do you want to have in your work environment, and really feel into that. And then either place things on your treasure map or words that represent that, because the whole idea is you want to feel it. Because you can't just have a picture. The picture is not what's the creative part. It's the picture coupled with faith. It's the picture coupled with knowing. And what does it come back to? It comes back to the scripture where Jesus said, whatsoever things you ask for in prayer, believe that you've received them, and you will have them. If we believe that we've received them, and we don't have them yet, what power do we have to use? Our imagination and our faith. So, if you are thinking about buying a home, go to open houses and look at homes. If you're thinking about buying a car, go test drive cars. I've done all these things. If you see people that you admire in relationships, talk to them. Ask them about their relationship and how they make it work. And we did a series here on the book What If Up by Mindy Audlin. And I love that book because it's all about going from this place of negativity to what if, and upping is what if it all works out? What if I get the job that I really want? Or what if something better comes along? What if? So you know what this is about energetically? It's about going from this to this. I am open. My energy is wide open. And I am open to things beyond just my imaginings. Because my imaginings are limited, right? I mean, how many times, again, have we said, I never would have imagined it could happen this way? And that's why part of this process is we give it over. We give it over to God. And then I love, and I shared this before, but when my now 14-year-old grandson was about 2 or 3, and he was doing something one day, and I said, what are you doing, buddy? And he goes, Grandma, I'm just pre-intending. And it was so funny because what he meant to say was, I'm pretending. But he said pre-intending, and in that moment I was like, I'm using that. That was really great. So yeah, who could have imagined? So Riley, I'm giving this to you, pre-intending. We're pre-intending whatever. I want to encourage you to use this for every area of your life. Every area. If there's any area that you feel like is not up to what you want it to be, use this. This will change things in your life, I can promise you that. Should you be specific? You do what you want. There's no one-tried rule here. Be as specific as you want to be. But here's the thing. Ultimately, we want to say this or something better. And then we let it go. We give it over. Now, sometimes things are going to show up exactly how you pre-intended them to be. And sometimes things are going to show up differently. But it comes down to the experience. And I've shared this before, but when the house that I used to own, it had this backyard with the woods, and I lived there for 10 years. And all I ever wanted was to see deer. And I even had like statues of deer in my backyard. So I just wanted to see deer, and I saw them one day. And since my living room was in the back of the house, every day, and I'm serious when I say every day, when I would get up, my first thing would be to look out for 10 years. And I only saw deer one day. Paul and I go to look for a home. And I mean, seriously, and I'm going to tell you this story sometime because it was such a beautiful story of grace, but it was only our second home we looked at. And we go into this house, we love the house, we go into the back deck and we look out, and the man feeds deer and turkey. And so we look out, and there's like 4 or 5 deer out there, and it was like, whoa, this is your home. And we see deer and turkey and many other wonderful little creatures of the universe. So sometimes they turn out, it turns out differently, but it's the experience that you want, because it's all about the experience. And Alice in Wonderland, sorry, I don't know where that one was. Let me see. Nope. Okay, Alice says to the queen, "One can't believe in impossible things." And the queen replies, "I dare say you haven't had much practice. When I was your age, I always did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast." And Walt Disney says, "That's the trouble with people. Too many people grow up." So I'm inviting us to become like a child again. And you know in what way I mean by that. To open up our minds. So we're actually going to do a couple of visualizations today. The one I'm going to start with today may stretch us a little bit. But Mary Hilsbeck-Huber and I went to the Council of Churches annual meeting this week, and the director, who's retiring, did the beginning part of this meditation, did this for us. And I told him I was definitely going to use it today. So we're going to start, if you'd like to close your eyes for a moment. And first, I'm just going to invite you to think of any 2 people that you could never imagine hugging. It could be in your personal life, it could be in our country, our world, whatever, any 2 people. And just imagine that they're embracing at this moment. And the way I'm going to invite you to see this is to just imagine that there's this beautiful light, and we know it's the light of God, the light of the Christ, the light of love, the light of divine harmony that is streaming in through the crown of their head and just filling their mind, filling their eyes, filling all aspects, and moving down into their heart space. And this light is from an infinite source. It's ever flowing. It fills their heart space. It fills their entire body until it cannot help but radiate and emanate out from them. And immediately it is in oneness with the other person's energy. And just let yourself feel that for a moment, and remember that the how is not up to you. God is in the how. And I'm going to invite you to imagine that Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi, if you know her, imagine that they are hugging each other. And just again, I'm going to invite you to imagine that light, the light of the Christ, of love, of harmony, of infinite possibilities and potentialities. Just see that light moving through the crown of both of their heads and filling their minds and their eyes, their ears, their vocal cords, moving down into their heart space, filling their hearts, filling their entire bodies, and then radiating and emanating until their energy is that oneness. And allow yourself just to feel, to see and feel that love of God that is doing its mighty work in them at this moment. And then take this bigger and go to the House of Representatives and to our Senate. And see everyone, again, just see them being filled with this divine light. And see them shaking hands, and see them patting each other on the back, and see them talking and smiling and knowing that they're making fabulous decisions for the betterment of everyone. And then take this out to the leaders of all countries. Seeing this divine light of love. It's God's love. It's God's power that is doing it. And then expand it to every person, that this light is doing its mighty work. And then imagine that you wake up in the morning, and when you wake up, there's no stress, there's no distress, disharmony. You wake up and you feel good. You get up in the morning, and no matter what the weather is, you're energized. You're excited to go out into your day because you feel connected to the people around you. People are happy. People are helping each other. People are being there for each other. As Susan said, it's fun. It's joyful. We're working together to make a world that works for everyone. And I'm going to invite you to anchor into this moment, knowing, let's know right now and decree that even when we stop this visualization, that energy, that light is continuing to do its mighty work, and that we will come back to it and nurture it. I invite you to take a deep breath and open your eyes. How'd it feel? And it's okay if it was a little difficult. I'm going to tell you that day, for me, and I'm just going to be honest, I couldn't see the love going back and forth, but today I could. I could feel it. And so it takes some time. But here's the thing, is that we do this visioning and we let it go. We allow the incubation period, because there's going to be an incubation period, right? But we go back and we nurture it. Because here's the thing I know, that my writing a vision and feeling it one time isn't going to change my mind. So why am I doing this over and over? Is to change my mind. Is for me to change my consciousness. So we go back and we do it over and over. So I'm going to do one more just to give you an idea of how we can do a visualization. And this is going to be for our bodies. And here's the thing. In the power of life, the color is red. And I love that for the power of life because it's vibrant, it's energetic, it's got life energy. But you may not need that vibrant, powerful energy in your body right now. You may need a more calming color. Maybe you need a blue or a green or a yellow or even white. Whatever it is that you visualize, I'm just going to invite you to visualize whatever color you want to vision. So I'm going to invite you once again to close your eyes. And imagine that there's this beautiful, again, light. We know it is the life of God. It's the life-giving energy of God. It's the perfection of God. And feel that light, whatever color it is, streaming in to the crown of your head, just filling your brain, knowing that whatever is unlike that perfect life, this power of life has the power and ability to right it, to make it right. Moving in through your eyes and in through your ears, through your vocal cords. Feel that energy moving down into your neck and your shoulders, through your arms, your hands, and your fingers, and knowing that every tendon and every vein and every artery, all your blood, your muscles, your bones, everything is responding to this life energy. Feel this energy moving in through your chest and into all of your organs. And know that every atom and molecule and cell, every bit of your physical body at this moment is waking up, and it is responding to this life-giving energy, this power of God that is mighty and active in you now. And it is mighty and active in you now. It's moving in through your hips and through your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, your feet, your toes, until you are filled. And then feel this energy as it radiates and emanates through the bottom of your feet, through the floor, and just filling our Mother Earth with this life-giving, loving, compassionate, kind energy. Anchor in for a moment, and let's decree and know that even when we close this meditation, that this energy is continuing to do its mighty work in us and through us and in our Mother Earth. Take in a deep breath. And then open your eyes. Could you feel it? This is the opportunity opportunity that we have. And here's the thing I'm going to tell you. This is not anything that's airy-fairy. This stuff is powerful. And it's the power of God, and that's what we have to remember. We're creating an image, but we're calling the power of God, and we're going to talk about power next week, the power of power. The power of power is the power of God, and it's the power of our spoken word. And we're going to talk about really bringing this vision into the present moment with our power of our spoken word. But this week, I'm just going to invite you to go have fun. Go out there and be great Imagineers. You know, think about things beyond what you've ever thought about before that you have thought are not possible for you. And let yourself go into this great imagination. And here's the thing is that together, you and I, we are changing the world. We cannot get stuck in that we cannot see it because in the invisible realm, it's happening. But it takes every one of us, and I say this a lot, it takes every one of us to do our part. And we have what we need in us to do just that. So I say to you, namaste, my beautiful fellow imaginers.